Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dubs here. Welcome back to another video. This is another drag setup tutorial on front wheel drive cars this time. So right now I have a Honda Civic Type R. This is the EK9, I think. And let's get started with all the stuff that we have here. First of all, of course, you're going to have to buy pretty much every single performance part for this car to basically make it as fast as it possibly goes. NOS is... it's not necessary, but if you want to buy it, you can buy it, and you can basically drag race with NOS, but it does give you a lot of wheel spin, which I'll show you guys later on in the video. Anyway, the car has 389 brake horsepower and 1007 kilos, and with NOS, if you want to use that, it'll end up having 778 brake horsepower. Am I right with that? I probably am. It's basically 100% of the actual power itself, so whatever 389, whatever twice the number of 389, which I think it is 778 brake horsepower. Anyway, in body, what I decided to do is, of course, you have to make it as light as possible, but then after that, I put ballast on the front wheels, so over the front of the car, and I added about 130 kilos of weight. You can mess around with this, see which one's the best, but I thought between 130 and 140 kilos is just fine. You can, as I said, mess around with it and see what you guys can get for this. Now, the reason why I did that is because this is a front wheel drive, and obviously you're gonna have less traction because the front wheels have to actually pull the whole car. So you're gonna end up pretty much having a lot of wheel spin. So if you add a little bit more weight onto the front, it'll press down on the wheels, and basically you're gonna try and get a little bit more traction. Yes, the car will be a little bit slower, but well, it won't be slower because you're gonna launch off the line a little bit faster than when it's as light as it possibly is. But you know, you just have to add a little bit more weight over the front. Power, I can't really explain much anything. Well, I can't really explain much on this because it's just obvious. You just buy the stuff. For the differential, buy the fully customizable mechanical limited slip differential, and then put 60 on the front, 60, and then 20 again. So initial torque, acceleration sensitivity, both on 60, and then braking sensitivity on 20. Again, clutch and flywheel, buy the triple play clutch kit and a standard kit on the propeller shaft because you can't do anything else on that. Let's shut these down so they don't get in the way. Transmission, let's do the transmission now. So basically, you have to do a transmission flip, which I'll show you guys how to do in a different setup here because this one's already done. This is pretty much what the final thing should look like. Of course, the gear ratios here can be a little bit different. That, of course, is understandable, but I'll show you guys how to do a transmission flip on this car. So go to this setup here. Of course, this is going to be a little bit different. So put down the fully customizable kit. So basically, when you have this, it should look something similar to this. And then what you have to do now is go over to final gear. Bring this down to between 3.5 to 3.8. And as I said, you're going to have to figure out something in the middle, something that you guys feel comfortable with driving. I put mine to 3.65 on my other setup, and then after you do that, go to max speed, bring that all the way down to the left, and then mess around with the gear ratios. So first gear, bring that all the way down to the left. Second gear, bring that about a third, something like that. Bring that about a third up. Third gear, bring that about just a little bit more than 3/4 up. So something similar to that. About, not 3/4, sorry, 2/3. So bring that about something like that. Maybe around 3/4 up. Something similar to that. Fourth gear, bring that all the way to the right. Fifth gear, all the way to the right. Sixth gear, all the way to the right. Again, when you finish all these, of course, you can mess around with them and see which ones pretty much give you the best launch and the way it drives the best. And then after you finish all that, go to final gear and bring that all the way to the left. And your little graph thing should look something similar to that. And if I go into A, it should look very similar to that. There you go. Okay, so that's the transmission done. And if we go into the suspension, I'll show you guys that. Ride height, about, I don't know, a fifth of the way up at the front, and about 4/5 of the way high at the back. Did I say up at the front? I meant low. So bring this about 90 millimeters, and then this to about 140 millimeters. Again, you can mess around with these and see what you guys can achieve with that. Spring rate as loose as it is at the front, and at the back make it as tight as possible, bringing that all the way up. Dampers, you can mess around with them, see what you can get. I found out that this is sort of a very simple setup to deal with the dampers, and it works just fine. Anti-roll bars, doesn't make a difference. Camber angle, put the 3.5 camber at the back, no camber at the front, toe angle at the front 0.1, and rear, make that -1. So that should be just fine. And of course, buy the Racing Soft tires, and you should be good to go. So now, let's go on the track, and I'll show you guys the way to launch this, and I'll show you guys a time that I got in the quarter mile. Alright, so this is the first run here. As you can see, you kind of have to get it to about 5,000 RPM, and then you can shoot off from the line. I managed to get this in about 11.5 or 6 seconds, and that's a pretty good time for a front-wheel drive Honda Civic, and it was kind of decent. But now I want to show you guys the time when I used NOS, and that basically went like this. So pretty much the exact same launch. I managed to shoot off at about 5,000 RPM. I didn't use NOS for the first few gears because I'll end up like pretty much just constantly wheel spinning like on the line without moving anywhere. And then afterwards, in like 4th or 5th gear, I shot off, and I kind of got like a faster time by about like half a second or so. And I'll show you guys now as well. You'll probably be able to see that I'll change to like this perspective, and you'll see how much wheel spin it actually gets when you try to shoot off the line with NOS. But anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully it actually helped you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I will still have to make a video for 4-wheel drive cars for drag racing, so hopefully that'll be out soon enough as well. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.